For Panthers Fans Only is a sports podcast intended for mature audiences and contains profanity as well as extremely spirited conversation. What you see and hear are the sole opinions and depictions of each individual, not at all inclusive of the entire cast or any guests associated with our show. Thanks for tuning in, and always remember to stand on business.
That was just a joke.
That sound like trauma. That sound like trauma.
But I'm wrong for moving my hand.
I tried to make feel better.
Because
He's so soft.
What I was gonna say, hey, bro, don't ever act like you in pain around Terrence, because he gonna say you soft.
Sound about right.
So this is the song you could describe?
Yes. Hey, this is the one I was searching for last week.
That's insane. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Terrible.
We need to clip how he described this song last week and show how this song actually goes.
When I sent that voice note to who put me on, it was right though. Perfect.
That was your first time hearing it?
No. That's why that stuck in my head. I couldn't remember how it went for real, but I did remember this part. Time. It might be a little hot. What would you classify this song as? What genre?
I don't even know, bro.
What would you classify this song as? What genre?
Like alt pop?
That's legitimately what Wikipedia has it as.
Really?
Alt pop / alt hip hop.
Yeah.
Because Rod was telling me this is hip hop. I said this is not hip hop.
No, it's definitely not hip hop.
I mean, 06, 07 though, you gotta think about the sound during that time.
I mean, that was my initial thought that came to my mind just based off of like generic genres of music.
Yeah.
Hip hop?
It's weird. Like,
Yeah,
alt
but
pop
as far
stuff.
as like alt, that didn't initially come to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind was hip hop.
Because it is kind of
It is.
swaggy, but
Yeah,
like
it
it's
is.
not like.
But it's not. It don't got
ain't-
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hit.
Got the Xbox controller on the couch.
That's how you.
I said, well, we still got the Xbox
Oh, we got. We in the trap with it, man.
That's how you make the real, less instrumentals.
Pass me them things.
You said what?
That's how you make the real instrumentals.
No.
You beat it.
You hate it?
You need this too.
That's what you want to hear? You want to hear the gunshot? You wanted me to bring the gunshot back or what? Time.
See, her sound like some real.
Welcome to Four Panthers Fans Only. Welcome to Four Panthers Fans Only. Recording a little bit later on this week. We wanted to give a little breakdown of the Blueprint episode 2 that finally released. Well, really, it hasn't really been that long. What was it, like 2 weeks? They released it 2 weeks later, so wanted to give y'all the breakdown on that. So we're recording a little bit later on Tuesday, like we typically do. But yeah, welcome. If you don't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram at For Panthers Fans Only, on TikTok at the same handle. Find us on all DSPs. Find us on X at FPFO_podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Turn your bell notification on, because I've seen, I've been looking at our numbers and just our CTR and everything like that. Things are kind of down, and I think it's because we're being shadow banned. I've had a couple of people tell us that it's been a lot more difficult to find us. Anyways, turn the bell notification on.
How does one get shadow banned?
Talking a lot.
Yeah, I was about to say probably for doing exactly what we do.
Yeah, but like, how does that work though?
Getting
YouTube,
copyright
the algorithm.
strikes.
Yeah, I was about to say copyright strikes, which
know.
they've changed it a lot because, they allow copyright now just with the YouTube program and stuff like that. But it can be a multitude of different things, all of which we do. So now that we, you know, have gone the monetization route, whatever the case may be, you know, they watch our a little more heavy, I guess you could say. So, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
So
that's one way
that
to put
probably falls into one of the reasons why.
Yeah. And like it's not even the real monetization. Like it's the YouTube partner program or whatever, but like there's certain levels of monetization. There's one where you hit 500 subs and then you have to have like 3,000 watch hours or like 100,000 short views, and then they have one that's like 1,000 where that's where you see ads and stuff coming into play. And you know, we're on that first level, and for whatever reason, like I said, it feels like we're being shadow banned. Rob was telling me the other day that it was a lot harder to find our content, like just in general. So I don't know what's going on that front. Hopefully we can get it worked out come training camp. I would like to get it worked out by tonight, but I just don't see that being a real possibility. So,
Well, I don't know. Maybe it could be his algorithm on YouTube, because every time I get on my YouTube, our shorts are up there.
yeah, I
The
feel like
first thing
Rob
that I
doesn't watch
see.
very much sports,
Yeah.
so his
yeah, but
algorithm
he's subbed.
probably.
He's subbed and he watches.
Even if you're subbed, though, I'm subbed to some channels, and I don't see a video come
Yeah.
up for them ever.
But I swear, every time I open my YouTube, our shorts are on
there?
the main page.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I don't know.
We'll have to
I
do
guess it
some
depends
research.
on the person.
Yeah, we'll do some research and dive into it.
Yeah,
That
wouldn't
was
be
a super
surprised
nerd talk for y'all that want to learn something about YouTube. It's a lot that goes into it.
I'm sure Rod's algorithm feeds him like political.
Oh yes, it does.
So,
I've seen his algorithm,
yeah.
and his algorithm sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's extremely boring.
Yeah,
but that's
political and like, you know, first person point of view flight videos.
yeah, that's about all. Like literally, and 90s hip hop. That's about it.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe some Weekend dabbled in.
No, a whole lot of weekend dabbling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm your host JJ. My co-host Terrence. My apologies.
Here you
Matter of
go,
fact,
here
I'm
you
your
go.
host JJ.
I'm your co-host Terrence.
And I'm your producer, Tavian.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. It's episode 14 of season 4. So, you know, we're picking up some traction. We got a couple of episodes under our belt, and hope that we give you guys a good production this week. But like I said, you know, we'll dive into, well, first and foremost, how are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling? It's been a week. You know, I know y'all be missing me. We didn't even do, a matter of fact, before we even go further, I know y'all didn't even put a juice ticket in. I know y'all didn't create y'all juice yet, did y'all?
Whoa.
Yeah, y'all did. I know y'all did. I know y'all did. How you feeling,
Don't ever
bro?
doubt my juice.
I feel good. You know, we've been doing a 30-day challenge. I think I'm the only one that's still like, you know, a full go. But yeah,
Absolutely not.
I've been doing good. Feel great. Yeah, I mean, I'm just in a great headspace, so I've been doing phenomenal.
How's the no alcohol thing going? That's a 30-day challenge you're referring to?
Yeah, it's going good. Think next weekend is when it's up. But yeah, I've been staying strong, even though we have like hella drinks. Had a cookout the other day, and like people was just offering drinks and still got hella drinks in the refrigerator, and I just keep looking at them.
Fair enough. I've committed to not drinking until the Vegas trip.
Yeah, it won't be that long for me.
Yeah, and I think the last drink I had was probably when I got back from Orlando. I think that was like literally the last drink that I had that weekend. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
You had enough over that weekend to last you into the Vegas trip.
And that's kind of what my thought process
Really, the last of
was
the rest
as
of
well.
the year.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my thought process as well. Like I said, I don't know if I'll make it because, you know, we got July 4th coming up, taking a family vacation that week. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. How are you feeling? You're participating in the 30-day challenge as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good actually. It's been it has been challenging, but it's been rewarding at the same time. I think I've actually dropped 10 pounds in the last week, which is like actually insane when you really think about it. But it's been cool, man. I'm in a good place though. I'm in a good place. The drinking thing hasn't been as hard as you would think it would be, but the smoking thing, now that's the one. Well, let me not out myself, but you know, that's the one that be trying
Vapes.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
That's the one that be trying to get me. But nah, it's been good, man. It's been cool. It's been nice to get back active too. I think that's gone a long way, making me feel good. My body feels a lot better. I be tired. I be in pain, but it's a good type of pain.
For sure. Well, if you want health advice, you can DM them on Instagram. Let's see. What do I have to go through? Started basketball back up. Our summer league. You know, we gonna fight. We gonna fight. I just got a call, a report I didn't like too much. I got these two hating in my ear, saying this and that. You know, a lot of people gonna be doubting us this year, but it is what it is. Had a baseball tournament this past weekend. 3 days. Chocho. That's all I can say. Speaking of Chocho,
we just got some.
You know they got the new feature. Do you want to just send it that way?
You will get it when you get it.
See,
I don't got that feature on my phone yet.
I just got some insider information that y'all just wasn't looking too hot, and you know,
yeah, same.
that it fell on coaching. A lot of it.
No, that's actually.
That's just. I'm just telling you what I heard. That's just what I heard personally.
Same.
You know, my source might not be 100% accurate, but you know, I just heard that coaching got a lot to do with the shortcomings of the team, and I just
heavy as the head, but you know it be like that. So
I heard it's a mix of talent and coaching, but more so a coaching. That's what I heard.
Well, everybody, you know, has their own perspective on certain things. I wish they interviewed me. J5 be too passive in the interviews after our games. Be talking to the Daily Reflector. They be asking him questions. I be wanting him to let his nuts hang a little bit more, but you know.
I mean, they can only hang so low after a loss.
Touche. Well, we'll get right into it. Like I said, we wanted to record a little bit later. If you didn't already, I would advise probably just pause this video right now, go watch the blueprint, and then come back and tune in. Then, if not, fast forward. We'll have the chapters at the bottom, timestamp, so you can fast forward past our blueprint review. Really don't have a long show for you guys today. Don't really have many things to go through. We'll touch on a couple of things. Obviously, day 2 of mandatory minicamp happened last week. I want to say the day after we recorded. So that occurred. Officially signed Daywood Davis. Officially signed Daywood Davis today or yesterday. As the UFL season finally ended this past Sunday on Father's Day. They had their championship game. So made that move official, which we already touched on. We talked about a little bit there. Then a couple of interesting bits and pieces from some of the press conferences. Shaq Thompson in particular, we'll talk about him a little bit. But other than that, like I said, we'll kind of keep it short and sweet, and we'll be back next week. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Were you impressed by anything that you saw this week on the blueprint? I'm going to pretty much ask you the same question that I asked you when we did our first review of episode 1. Did anything that you see kind of change your perspective on the team as a whole? What's your expectations for the season on? Just talk to me a little bit about what y'all saw and how y'all felt about this episode. Because to me personally, you know, for me, I've been watching this with a very, very jaded eye, just because I know the way they gassed everything last season, and I know that I fell victim to it last season. So now it's like almost kind of I don't even know the word to describe it, but right now the perspective that I have on the show as a whole is just a bit different. But just tell me kind of what you've been thinking kind of past 2 episodes, and if anything kind of changed your perspective and has you thinking a little bit different about the season as a whole.
I was really excited after the first episode. This episode, I mean, nothing really moved me that much. I can't really point to a specific reason why. I just wasn't as excited, as giddy as I was the first episode. Now, there are some things that still stood out as far as, like, it seemed like all of them were on the same page free agent-wise, like draft-wise. They wanted tough, mean, like gritty guys, and they went and did that by getting Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, Ashawn Robinson, Jadeveon Clowney, Seems like they were all in agreement on those guys. At least, that's what they made it seem like in those small clips. Obviously, we know a lot goes into it that they haven't put on cameras, but I would say that they were more in sync with that than it seemed like they were last year, just based on how shit unfolded in the building, how people started snitching on each other, how there were some moles, some rats in the building going back and telling Dave and all that other stuff. So this seems like it was more of a team collaboration coming together on making the decision. Also, I love the fact of seeing Nicole and Dave not as hands-on.
That was one of the main things that I was going to touch on.
Yeah, you didn't really see Happy. I didn't see Nicole making a phone call to any other draft picks. Maybe she did, but they didn't show it, thank God. Nothing against her. I mean, I'm just glad to see that I didn't see them like having that much of a say-so in those draft picks. They really kind of let Dan Morgan cook. So I think that this time around, like, if something was to, unfold and it didn't look as pretty as what they made it seem to be, I think you have more so one guy that you can, and maybe that's not necessarily all that fair for it to fall on Dan Morgan, but in that same breath, like, he was the guy on the clip, seeming like he was making most of the moves. So,
and it has to a certain degree between him and Brant Tillis.
Yeah, because last year you were putting a lot of the blame on Dave and, shooting Scott Fitter a bill. We don't have to really tap into that, but that's just the reality of the situation. But now it seems like this was more so of Dave's doing, probably more of Dan's doing, probably him and Dave Canales collaborating on a lot of these picks, and Brant Tillis. And so I think that if something was to unfold, then, you have someone you can point the blame at. Something else that popped into my head, I don't know why, but just based off and I don't even know if I can elaborate on this because I don't really know why I had this thought process. Just based on the kind of guys that they seem like they wanted out of this draft, for some reason I just got a feeling that if this was the same team, if this was the same group of coaches and GM, and things of that sort going into the draft room last year, I don't think they would have drafted Bryce. I don't know why.
That's very interesting.
Just because I don't think he necessarily fits that mold that they were talking about. It doesn't seem like. I don't know.
Can you expound on that?
I don't know.
Or you just got that vibe.
That's
a bold take. Yeah, I was going to say that's a bold take.
That just popped into my head. Like,
what made you feel that way? Like, what?
Yeah,
okay, so
something had to trigger that feeling.
Yeah, elaborate on what they were saying that and the type of guys that they wanted, and the traits that Bryce has, and why you feel like they clash.
Because I think that they were like, we want tough, mean, gritty guys. I think Bryce fits the mold as far as tough, like he gets put in the dirt and gets back up. But as far as that mean, gritty guy, like really like making you feel his presence, I think that that's more so what they were talking about. And
so not to cut you off, but just to kind of see what you have to respond to this. Do you think that he does not fit that dog kind of mentality or persona that they're trying to establish for this team?
I can see him not fitting it as much as they would like him to right now. So they built the team like now. I think they could have went into it with putting guys like that around him to try to get him up to that point, if that makes sense.
So who do you think then, based off your analysis, who do you think they would have gone after? Who do you think this front office goes after last year?
And the thing,
one right answer, I would say.
No, I don't think so.
No, the CJ Stroud didn't even pop into my head. I thought of AR Will Levis, honestly. I don't know why.
Maybe not. I can see AR, maybe not Will though.
I mean, Will kind of has shown that though. Like he's kind of gritty. Like he is.
At times, that is very true.
He definitely showed that last season,
and I think he showed it more so than what Bryce has. So
off of that, will we, from your perspective, do you think that this front office wouldn't even have moved up to 1? Do you think that we would have just sat at 9 or 10 and then would been fine with taking AR, Will Levis, whoever?
AR wouldn't have been there. He went at 3, but
okay.
Will Levis,
okay, got you. Yeah. So do you think that it would have been Will Levis, or do you think we wouldn't even have gone all the way up to 1, been able to keep DJ Moore, and then it's a completely different conversation? That's an interesting perspective that you had, because I don't know if I got that, but now that you say it, I can understand why that was a takeaway for you.
Appreciate the views you just got us.
Nah, for real.
I mean, I
We
don't
be going viral, and they're gonna call me a fat ass too. But don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Dylan, make sure you zoom in on Terrence when you say
Nah,
that
for
shit.
real.
I mean, yeah, I don't think necessarily and this is not to say that I don't think they're not bought in on Bryce now, because obviously that's a conversation that we had before, they even hired these group of coaches. And something that I'm still standing by is that they had to bring in a coaching staff who was brought in on Bryce. I think two things can be true. I think that they can think that he doesn't possess that kind of mentality as of right now, but are still bought in on him as a quarterback.
His talent.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And feel like he can still succeed in the system that they're going to surround him with. But what was your question? Do you think we would have still traded up?
Yeah, do you think we would have still went all the way up to number one? Because you said maybe C.J. Stroud wouldn't even fit that mold that you think that they are trying to build.
I think he would have fitted more than Bryce, but I think more so of their guy. And this is just me, my opinion. So, I mean, fuck y'all if y'all got anything to say about it. I really don't care. But this is my opinion. Like, I think that AR or Will Levis fit that mold a little better. I don't know why. This is just what I picked up on them and how they were going at it in the war room.
I think I
That's very interesting.
kind of agree, though. Like, I think even back to our conversations last year, like, I was really high on AR specifically because of who the Panthers are, who they've been. Now, it seemed like, what pissed me off the most about what the Panthers did last season in drafting Bryce, it felt like this is how I felt at the time, and I still low-key kind of feel this way. They wanted to do the exact opposite of what Cam Newton was and have success because it felt like...
Pause. That's Dave Tepper for you.
And that's exactly where I was about to go. It felt like
go
Dave Tepper wanted to erase any memory of Cam Newton in Carolina and be like, I'm the one who got this done, not Cam. This isn't Cam's city. This is my city. And I'm Dave Tepper, and I want to do this shit my way.
And that's a deeper, darker, because I don't even think it goes to Cam Newton. I think it just goes directly to Jerry Richardson. When you look at pretty much everything Dave Tepper has done, it is completely opposite of what Jerry Richardson has done and established. So you look at the AR, potential to get AR. You look at the pulling training camp from Wofford. Then you try the project in Pink Hill. You bring everything back. Now you're trying to keep everything in house. So it's multiple instances where we see, like you just spoke about, Dave Tepper really just trying to erase, the previous history, everything pre-Dave Tepper. Really, it looks like he's trying to erase that. That's a great point as well.
And that's exactly what it is, and it's crazy too, because outside of, the racism and the sexual assault, workplace harassment type deals that, Jerry had going on, everything else was all right.
He was a phenomenal owner.
He was a good owner as far as that goes, like personal life, whatever. As far as an NFL owner goes, he did a pretty good job establishing a new franchise and finding success, as y'all would even allude to if you said time before, like y'all were spoiled as a fan base being a new franchise and seeing immediate success. A couple of trips to the Super Bowl, a couple of NFC championships, multiple NFC South championships, the highest an MVP, defensive player. Did Luke ever win DPOY?
Absolutely. Second year in the league.
Defensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, MVP. Like, you've seen the highs. And so I just don't understand why Tep wants to go away from that so badly. But it's just because he's fucking narcissistic.
I would agree with that. And that was the first thing that I said when I turned the Blueprint on. The first time I saw his face, for me and Dave Tepper, it's just something about him I really just don't like. I don't know if it goes to that, if that's a direct reflection, because it seems like he's trying to erase our history and kind of erase all of the good things that we remember about the Carolina Panthers of the past. I don't know if it's that or it's the sense of narcissism, like you just said. I don't know what it is, but it's just something about the guy that I don't like. And
that's how he carries himself.
That's how he carries himself, and it makes it hard to kind of buy in with what he wants to do. So when you see in the war room that finally he's taking a step back, you kind of get a bit excited, because now you're letting the football guys be football guys. And that's what we've cried about on this podcast for nearly 2.5 years, is let the football guys be football guys.
And I think if I had to take anything away from the Blueprint episode, it was that. It was the fact that Dave Tepper did take a huge step back, it seemed like, from last year to this year.
Absolutely.
Even to the point where Buddy was showing him highlights of Trevin Wallen,
Trevin Wallace.
Trevin Wallace on his phone, like, yeah, look at this guy, like, look at this linebacker type shit. Because Dave had never seen him before.
Yeah.
So, like, I love to see that. And Dave really didn't say shit in that draft room either.
Yeah, and I think that, and not to cut you off either, but I think that just based off of the way the blueprint looked and just the video of Dave Tepper in the war room, you can tell that he's a guy that shouldn't have been making those decisions in the past anyway, because he looked completely clueless. I'm not going to lie.
At certain moments he did.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't even think he knows what's really going on, and maybe it could be a lack of them actually telling him, like, but I don't know. I just feel like he didn't really know anything going on football-wise about these guys that were being drafted. And so you could just see the dumbfounded look on his face a little bit. Like, this all looks new to me. Like, a kid looking at new technology. Like, oh, wow, look at this. Like, what is this we have here? Like, that's what kind of vibe I got from him. So,
just to touch off of that, too, because you said that he didn't really say anything in that war room. I think, one of the positives to me was when I believe it was the Trevin Wallace pick, and he went to Dave Canales. He was like, "You like this guy?" And Dave Canales was like, "Absolutely. I think he's a hell of a talent." And they called it. Dan Morgan, they collabed on it. They did what they needed to do. So, our biggest thing on the show has been let football guys be football guys as it pertains to Dave Tepper. And I think this year, just based off what we saw in the war room, I think that was something promising, and it seems like that's what's going on for sure. To circle back to that Bryce Young thing, how do I want to word this? I'm not trying to be controversial this week. I'm just trying to chill. So I'm gonna just ask a question to you. And it's kind of a question that we've already talked about a couple of times on this podcast this season in particular, but just based on the feeling that you got off of the blueprint, and we will expound a little bit more on the blueprint, but we're here right now, so it'll give us an opportunity to get more content. Based on that feeling, do you think that expedites Bryce Young's timeline? Because what did we say? We've talked about it multiple times this all season. We believe that just based off the impatience of Dave Tepper, that Bryce Young, if there is no improvement to minimal improvement, and minimal improvement would be, I don't even know. Minimal improvement is whatever you decided to be, you the viewer. Do you think that expedites Bryce Young's timeline and the Panthers' willingness to move on from him if he doesn't produce and doesn't take a huge step forward this season?
So I have a couple different answers to this. One, I think there is going to be improvement. I think that's undoubtable. I think that you will see him look a lot better than he did last year. One, solely just based on the pieces that he has around him that are very different from last year, that are an upgrade from last year. So that's first things first. I was also listening to, I watch a lot of these sports analysts and shit, and I think that most owners give, their quarterbacks 3 to 4 year timeline. And so I don't think it would be out of the ordinary that if he either regress, one, that would be nasty, but if he didn't improve at all, that his timeline will be sped up. Because Dave Tepper is impatient, but then I can also combat that by the way that Dave Tepper kind of took a back seat, and we've been seeing that throughout the offseason. I kind of feel like he would have a say-so in that, but he will also let Dave Canales and Dan Morgan have more of a say-so in that as well, as far as if they need to move off of Bryce or if they need to start looking in another direction as well.
Okay.
So I think there can be a few different answers to that question, honestly. But like I said, I think that he will be better than he was last year, no doubt.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think scheme. I think the change of scheme is going to help him significantly. And I also believe, like you said, the weapons that they put around him, even when you look at the blueprint and you look at Jonathan Brooks, you see how they felt about him, which, when we talked about that, we discussed it. I said they had to move back up because they wanted to take it from Dallas. They mentioned the Giants in particular in this episode, which obviously we would assume he was on their radar as well, seeing that Saquon did walk this offseason, whatever the case may be. So, when you look at that, you look at them going out and getting JT Sanders, you look at the improvements on the offensive line. That was another thing. Heavy weight and put on the improvements that we made this offseason on that front line. And I think that was Dave Canales' doing, to be completely honest. I think that with the scheme he understood that he wanted to run and he's going to implement this season. I think it's essential that we have those guys, those nasty guys, like you said, those gritty guys up front that, they see red and they want to kill. I think it's essential. I love seeing that. That being said, Ikem Ekwonu to me is gonna have to make a significant improvement to his game this offseason. But I think it's a good thing because you have a room full of veterans that have that mentality. And to me, when you're in that kind of space, it has no choice but to rub off on you.
And I think another thing that'll take a lot of pressure off of Bryce is these guys are they're good in the run block as well. So
yep.
I think that, and Dave Canales, he continues to say that, he continued to hint at that we're gonna run the ball a lot this year. So I think the more that, we can rely on the run game to actually be productive, then it also takes a lot of pressure off of Bryce as well. And then going back to the Dave Tepper thing about speeding up Bryce's timeline to be this certain type of player, I mean, who knows? He can be counting that whole last season, because I personally count it as a wash. He can be counting that whole last season as a wash based on the fact that we didn't have shit around him. Coaching staff was ass, and now he has new pieces around him and a whole new coaching staff. So, I mean, that could make his timeline a little longer than previously expected. So, I don't know.
Got you. Got anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think another thing that'll help Bryce out this season will be expanding his game. And when I say that, I mean utilizing his legs a little bit more, because I think that was one thing last year that we saw. He has Bryce is a lot faster than a lot of people thought, a lot faster than I thought. I know he's a lot faster than y'all had previously thought as well.
Absolutely.
Bryce can move, and I think that'll be also something that you can supplement. Say Ick has another horrible season and he's having some trouble over there. Bryce, Canales designing some type of plays, because a lot of this is something that I found interesting when Patrick Mahomes was kind of breaking down the quarterback position. A lot of he was 80 to 90% of the game is off script. It was it's what happens after, the play breaks down. He was that's how it goes a lot of the times in the NFL. And so I think being able to utilize that 80 to 90% of the game where everything is off script and you're scrambling, being able to set Bryce up in a position where when he's scrambling, he has options. He has secondary options, second reads. The receivers have secondary routes that they know when the quarterback's scrambling. I got to get to this zone. I got to get to my spot here. I got to, create a window. I got to sit in this zone type shit. So I think that'll be something that really helps Bryce, utilizing that other part of his game, and kind of relieves a little bit of that pressure off the O-line as well, if they aren't what we think they should be.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, all arrows point to this being a successful offensive line. It points towards this being a successful construction of the offensive line. You went out and you spent a lot of money on two offensive guards. You are going to have Austin Corbett back. And then Taylor Moton is who he is. He's a solid piece on that offensive line. One of the more consistent pieces of the team as a whole last year at that right tackle position. So I think that we will see a significant jump from Bryce this year. I do. And, if you've watched this podcast in the past, y'all know how skeptical I've been. Y'all know how tough I've been on him. And I will still justify that and stand by it. However, I do understand what played into that. Like you mentioned, the coaching staff being subpar, the weapons around him being subpar, the offensive line being historically bad. All of those things, to me, were improved. Obviously, we're still in the offseason. This is June. We have 6 weeks until we go into training camp, so there's a lot of things that will change, a lot of things that we're saying right now, we may feel different about come middle of August, beginning of September, whatever the case may be. But I do think that Bryce Young will take a significant jump, and I think that he's seeing a lot of the criticism that he's receiving. I do. I was looking at something. I don't even know what publication put it out, but it was what second year they were doing an all second year team on guys that they thought would improve the most, and I'm pretty sure that they had Will Levis as the quarterback over Bryce Young. So I think he's seeing all of this stuff. I think he's seeing the whole media run. Even though C.J. Stroud is his boy, I think that he's seeing the whole media run that C.J. Stroud has been on. And even with friends, I mean, we can attest to this. Most of the time, you're the most competitive with your friends. I mean, honestly. So I think that Bryce is seeing all of this stuff. I believe that with the improvements to the offensive line, to the wide receiver room, having 15 wide receivers roster right now, going to be able to have our pick of the litter or who we want to go into the season with, I think that's going to help significantly. I really do. Off of that, you mentioned something about the run game earlier. ESPN, right now, as we stand depth chart-wise, Chuba number 1, Jonathan Brooks number 2, Miles Sanders number 3. How do you feel about that?
I mean, like I said last week, mine is slightly different. Chuba 1, Miles Sanders 2, Jonathan Brooks 3. I mean, irregardless, it is what it is. Those two can be interchangeable. One of the reasons that, you would essentially put Jonathan Brooks as 2 was because Miles Sanders stays hurt. He's already battling a few injuries now. So it's like, if I'm looking at it as an ESPN writer, it is kind of hard to make a depth chart where he is running back 2 when he's not participating in practices and training camps or mini camps because he's battling injuries. And this is something that he came off probably his worst season of his career last year. So, I mean, anyone who's analyzing that, it's kind of hard for them to make a case for him to be running back number 2. But the reason that I had him as running back number 2 is because Jonathan Brooks is also coming off an ACL injury, and we just haven't seen what he can do yet based off of that injury. But I mean, I don't hate it. It's not anything that comes as that much of a surprise. But
yeah, I just wanted to see what you had to say about it because I know that you kind of hate on that Brooks pick. As far as that's concerned, just based off the blueprint, did having the insight on the war room when we made that pick, did that change anything for you at all?
Not really, just because they still didn't address what my whole problem with the pick was. It's addressing the cornerback situation because I would be able to understand why they picked Jonathan Brooks. They felt like he was the best running back on the board. Cool. And if that is the case, if he is what everyone believes him to be, then we definitely got to steal at that pick. But in that same breath, when you go and try to balance that by, we picked Chu Smith because the only thing that I heard about him is because the guy's smart. I mean, can I get anything else? Is that all I can get? That still gives me a hard time to process, going that route when we're in desperate need of a cornerback with Dane Jackson on the other side. So that's still my problem there.
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. Especially when you have real examples of what it looks like when your cornerback room is subpar and your team is, you can have the best team on paper everywhere else, and if your cornerback room is subpar, you're torched. Just look at the Eagles last season.
Good point.
So that's still a huge glaring need, and so I definitely would feel that way. But I don't think the running back position, however ESPN decides to rank them now, is essentially meaningless. We know it's going to change throughout the course of the season, so long as Chuba's the one, because he should be the one, deservedly so at this point in time, until we see Jonathan Brooks come back healthy and, we see him take put a few games in the NFL under his belt, put a few carries under his belt. Miles Sanders is who he is at this point. Inconsistent, battling injuries.
Do you not think that offensive line will help him?
Miles Sanders?
I think that offensive line is going to help Miles Sanders.
But it won't help his. He had a bit of a fumble problem before he came to Carolina. He didn't do that well last season. He didn't get that many carries, and he still fumbled the ball.
He did.
The offensive line ain't gonna help that. So I just don't think Miles Sanders is who the Panthers, who Scott Fitterer thought he was when he signed him to that massive contract in free agency.
Deuce as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deuce as well. That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, either of those guys. I don't know. I'm just ready to see him get kind of buried in the RB room, honestly, and kind of be done talking about him. Shout out to the guy, cool guy in person. When we seen him at the hookah lounge the day before the game, not doing what he was supposed to do. But cool guy, but just
snitching.
I don't really have a problem with it. but that's just me.
He just relaxing his body, bro. Relaxing his mind and his body.
Yeah,
with his own, but
he did that shit in the game too. He was
Yeah.
relaxing his mind and body in the game because he damn sure won't touch in the field.
Yeah,
Very
so
true.
that's probably why he was in the hookah bar.
So
Right.
you know, cool. So like,
He knew he
that's
wasn't
why I
playing.
say.
Ease his mind a little bit.
So that's why I say what I say. Like, I'm just ready to kind of be off of him. Jonathan Brooks is clearly the future of the Carolina Panthers running back room. But Jonathan Brooks is the future, but Chuba's now. So long as Chuba's the workhorse, then everything else is what it is.
Cool. Anything else from the blueprint? Let me think. Nothing really for me. I was kind of a little confused, and I said this to Terrence because we did watch it together. I was confused on why DJ Wanham didn't get his own little segment. I don't know what that's all about. Obviously, we know he has the quad injury that he's suffered a setback from, per Dave Canales. But even with that taken into account, I was a little confused on that. I don't know what that's all about.
Well, I would say to that, like, I get it. And probably because he couldn't get a lot of on-field work. But also, like, guys like, what's his name, Jordan Fuller, Nick Scott.
Yeah, those guys as well.
Yeah, they really only got a snippet or so. And that might be because, I mean, the episode could only be for so long. And I think that they're only releasing, what, 2?
Yeah, that's it.
So, I mean.
Last night was the last episode that they'll release.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's, but in the grand scheme of things, if you're looking at like big pickups, I don't think there's big, or he is as big of a pickup as a Jadeveon Clowney, Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis.
Fair enough.
Maybe Josie Jewell. You could argue that.
I think he's gonna play a big role. I don't
Josie
know
Jewell?
why. Yeah, I think he's gonna play
I
a
think
big
so
role.
as well.
I think our linebacking core is going to be okay. And that off of that, I wanted to talk about that as well. Because last week, after the second day of mandatory minicamp, Shaq Thompson broke to the media that not only did he have surgery on his foot that he broke, on his leg, whatever the case may be, he also had groin surgery, which was from an injury that he suffered in 2020, which made me, kind of go down a rabbit hole in my brain. Just about the expectation from the linebacking room this year. How do you feel about that? I think the linebacking group is going to be solid. I think that front seven is going to be okay, and I say only okay because I don't know what we're getting from that D-line. I know what I'm getting from Derrick Brown. That to me is hands down, but I think that linebacking room has the ability to be one of the best, if not the best, groups on this team, and I would only put them in contention with potentially the offensive line and the wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean, it still gives me cause for pause just because you mentioned Shaq just had 2 surgeries in the offseason. Shaq is also an aging linebacker. So
he said he has 5 more years left. And he also said he felt like this was the first time in a long time he was at 100%.
I mean, yeah, I would. Any fan would love to hear you say that. Like, I'm happy
That's
that
true.
you said that. Do I actually believe that? No. I mean, just by the law of physics and, you ain't no LeBron James. Ain't nobody, like, aging like that and still playing to that ability. So I feel like him coming off of 2 surgeries like that, we sat in here and talked about groin injuries. Like, I don't know if we were talking about that on here, but we know how difficult groin injuries can be. And being that you had to have surgery on it kind of, it kind of gives you cause for pause. So I can't really sit here and say that I think that linebacker room is going to be up there to where you're putting them at, just because I don't know what we're going to get from Josie Jewell. And as much as you like to think I hate on Frankie, there's always – I don't think Josie Jewell is a Frankie Louisville. There's always going to be that factor of Frankie that we're going to miss, and I think I speak for the whole Carolina fan base when I say that. It's kind of hard to replace a guy like that. And so I don't think we have that replacement as of yet. I don't think Josie Jewell is that guy, but now he could prove me wrong. And then Trevin Wallace, he's a rookie, so it's like I don't really know. We don't know where he's going to be at when he steps on the field. So I think there's a lot left in the air for that room. Yeah, I'm not that high on him, honestly.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. Well, before you go, Tavy, I'm gonna come right back to you. Where do you have Shaq Thompson ranking as it pertains to linebackers? Because pretty much, for the last 5 or 6 years, with the exception of him being injured or whatever the case may be, obviously he was behind TD and Luke when he first came into the league. First 4 or 5 years of his career. Now we're looking at, what is this, year 9, year 10 for him, going on somewhere in that range. He's consistently been anywhere between the top 10, top 15 linebacker. What is your expectation for him this year coming off of those surgeries? Does he stay in the same realm, or do you begin to start seeing a bit of regression from Shaq Thompson, in your opinion, this season?
It could be either or, honestly, because he's known as like a run stuffer. So I mean, even though like he has surgery on those particular areas, I don't think that he would necessarily lose that much of a step, like filling in the gaps and lowering his shoulder and tackling people. Like, I don't, but it would be coverage that I'm worried about, which we know that he's not like the greatest coverage linebacker anyway. So there could be a chance that he doesn't really lose a step in that regard, but you can potentially see him slow down when it comes to covering sideline to sideline. Because, I mean, you lost Frankie, so I guess Josie Jewell will try to fill that role, but, I mean, Shaq is still going to have to do some of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you have?
I was just going to say, I don't think you're really super far off on your comments saying that you think the Panthers will be one of the better linebacking groups in the NFL, because I actually saw something interesting the other day per Mike's Clay 2024 NFL projections guide. So I guess he's a beat writer for ESPN or something. But they currently have the Panthers ranked as the 9th best linebacking group in the league, listing Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, Trevin Wallace, Chandler Wooten, and Tay Davis, as the linebackers that are going to be on there. But
Tay Davis is the linebacker that came from Buffalo. Am I accurate in that? I think he came from Buffalo.
I don't like that.
They have y'all as 9th. But, it's interesting, though. You know who number 1 is?
Dallas?
No, hell no. Dallas is like 25. We're all the way down there.
Who's number 1?
Atlanta?
Linebackers?
New Orleans?
Washington.
That makes sense.
I mean,
So
Frankie,
with,
Jeremy Chan, and then
Bobby Wagner,
Bobby
Frankie
Wagner.
Louvu, Jamin Davis, Mikael Walker, and Jordan Mage.
Yeah,
I don't know who those last 2 guys are, but I know Jamin Davis is a dog. Bobby Wagner's a dog. And Frankie Louvu is a dog.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I was looking back when we did our schedule preview, and I kind of dismissed Washington, forgetting and blazing the fact that they got Eckler as well, blazing the fact that they got Frankie. Well, not really blazing it, but blazing the fact that they had Bobby as well. I don't know. Washington, the Commanders might be a good football team. They might be a really good football team this year. And I really might want to make a hot take and say that they may be second, if not 1, in the NFC East this year.
Not as long as Sticks is out there at corner.
Well, okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
No idea.
I think their little corner.
Oh, the little boy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Legs. Oh my God,
well,
that might be the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. Boy.
All I'm gonna tell you is,
I just know me at my size today. If I see him in front of me, I'm dropping my fucking shoulder because that little bitch. Oh my God.
They're gonna be a really good football team.
Nah, they are. They're gonna be fun to watch.
Actually, 1,000% going to that Washington game. I was kind of up in the air. I was trying to figure out. That's a definite. I think that's going to be a good game. If we are who I believe we're going to be, I think that's going to be a good game. So, I mean, we got to lock that in. Can you commit to that on air? So our viewership can hold you accountable?
No, I'm not.
See, that is weird.
Well, how the fuck is that weird?
That is weird.
I don't even know when the game is.
Week 7.
You want me to commit to that?
Yes, a whole month after the Vegas trip. That should be very doable. That should be very doable.
We'll see. I don't know what's going to be happening in my life at that point.
Listen, I plan on going to Vegas. I had a dream last night, very vivid dream, that I came up out of Vegas up 10 bands. And I don't know if that was God trying to tell me something or what.
Yeah,
of course.
I ain't had that dream yet.
Of course, of course, I'm gonna let you hold.
Because I mean, I was thinking the other day how I would come back telling everybody I done lost everything.
It's okay. What's your cap? Go ahead and tell me your cap right now, so I can have it in my brain, and we can just cap you out whenever you cap out.
Cap the lose in there?
Yes.
So I might bring like a band just to casino money. So
Okay, that's what I've been hearing. Like a band 1,500. I'm at 500, but everybody keep making me seem
I'm more like, no, I'm with you. Don't feel like you.
Nah, everybody keeps making me feel like I'm pussy. It's so cool.
As soon as I lose 500, I'm out. Like y'all got it, bro. Like y'all don't.
bro,
y'all done
niggas
took
lose
everything
that
I'm
much
willing to
on
lose.
FanDuel all the time. Like,
I mean, that's true.
If
I'm
that
not gonna
shit
lie, because
right
I gotta
in
put
front of
250. I gotta put 250 on the Panthers money line, and I gotta go to the sports book and I gotta give it to them and tell them, yeah, I want 250 on Carolina. So that's half of my shit right there. And if I get it on that poker table, and really,
when you get no drinks flowing,
Yeah.
Like,
that's the problem.
Especially when they're free.
Yeah,
and
that's the problem.
They pump that fresh oxygen in there, take the time off the wall. You might go in there and lose everything.
I might need to go in that bitch and put 1,000 on black and tell them spin that motherfucker, spin it, and run some shit up. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I might sell my car and take everything and put it on. Yeah.
See, niggas so he's trying to go out there and go down on his dick.
Yeah, I mean,
See, got it. We got to keep a close eye on him for sure. Let me see. Anything else from the Blueprint? I think we're good from the Blueprint. Again, to me, really underwhelming episode. Obviously, I think that it would have been better if they did more episodes. I do. Cutting it short to 2 episodes, I feel like a lot of context was lost in certain situations. We didn't really see the process. Excuse me. We didn't really see the process towards the end of the draft, kind of on how they made their decisions. They touched on Shaw a little bit. Then, Crumity and things like that, they just showed the phone calls being made. I wish we would have got a little bit more on that front. Wish we would have got a little bit more on the free agency signings. Jadeveon, that was another one. They spent a good amount of time on him. However, I would have liked to see a little bit more kind of play on that storyline. Jordan Fuller, like you mentioned, he totally slipped my mind. And to be honest, I blame that on the Carolina Panthers social media team as a whole, because I really haven't heard anything about him throughout the whole offseason. So it would have been nice to see a little bit more of him. So this year for me, overall, I think the first episode to me was really good. I like the way they dove into the Dave Canales storyline. I like the way they showed kind of the development of the whole coaching staff. Episode 2 to me was a bit underwhelming. It was a bit underwhelming. It was a little bit more time, but I feel like a couple of pieces there were a little bit rushed. I felt like they could have done a lot better. Even if they would have made it an additional episode or whatever the case may be, break free agency into one episode and then do the draft on episode 3 or whatever, I feel like it kind of got rushed at times. But overall, I mean, it was a good experience. I like the fact that we have this thing now that we can look forward to every season, because that was something, in my opinion, that we were lacking in the past. We didn't really get that behind-the-scenes look that a lot of NFL teams get. The Dallas Cowboys do a phenomenal job, their media team, in presenting multiple pieces of content behind the scenes. Baltimore Ravens do a very good job as well. They have, with the deal with Under Armour and everything like that, they have a little bit more fluidity, I would assume, just kind of on how they go about that. But they do a really good job with their content. The Philadelphia Eagles, they're kind of hit and miss, but a lot of teams, they do a good job at showing that behind-the-scenes look, which was something that the Carolina Panthers were lacking. I love the fact that we have that now. I wish we would have got a little bit more this year, but, I'm only going to be so upset. Something is better than nothing. So that's kind of our wrap-up on the Blueprint for this season. Like Terrence mentioned earlier, episode 1 did kind of get me a little excited. I like seeing Dave Canales. I like seeing the offensive line coach in his element. I like seeing, the wide receiver coach and some of the pieces of advice that he had to give some of the guys. So I'm excited for July. So all of that being said, this is like really the last piece of content that I believe we'll get pre-training camp. And so now we're on a 6-week break. We've touched a little bit on day 2 of mandatory minicamp. Also, you were defending your boy. Day 2 of mandatory minicamp, he missed 2 field goals.
Who, Eddie?
Yep. But don't even comment.
Why would you check?
I'm just saying, don't even comment, because the nigga wanted to come back and be Mr. Hot Shot and not kick day 1. Then day 2, when that pressure got to his ass, he missed a couple.
What did Mevis do?
What do you think? What has he been doing the whole time?
I don't know.
Well, let me ask you
Because when Eddie walked out there the other day, he missed one. So don't ask me what he's been doing the whole time.
Individual. I told you Eddie gave him back. Well, actually, Eddie discredited that because he said he ain't even talked to the nigga.
Exactly.
You see his interview?
Yeah, I did see where
he said I ain't talked to that nigga at all. Just kind of high by. Meet up with some of the guys. I said, oh, he got smoke for that nigga. He got smoke for bro.
So Eddie done came in there and let his nuts hang.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Cool, and pull rank. And we're pro player on this show. We've been extremely vocal about that. I understand Eddie Pinero's position. I do. We'll come in here and shit on him. That's part of the life of an NFL kicker is to get shit on. I understand his position. If he feels that way and he does beat Mevis out this offseason, the Carolina Panthers should pay him his money. They should pay him. They should, if that's what it comes to. And they asked him about Harrison Butker. I don't know why they brought him up, or Justin Tucker. I believe it was Sheena or Vassa that brought his name up. I don't know why they did that, but they were talking about $7 million, and his face lit up. Wow. To me,
no, have that same energy. Have that same energy that you have with Dionte Johnson.
No.
That's what conversation it kind of sound like. Because why his face lighting up when he hear about Justin Jefferson?
Because that market reset.
But Eddie Pierre's face can't light up when they say Justin Tucker.
Also, off of that, that conversation has gotten a little bit louder. That conversation has gotten a little bit louder. You try to slander me, y'all. Both of y'all, matter of fact. Y'all tried to slander me and tried to air me when I said, how does that contract affect Dionte Johnson? And as time has gone on over the past 2.5, 3 weeks, that's the conversation that I've been seeing all over X, conversation that I've been seeing on ESPN about if the Carolina Panthers should go ahead right now and pay Dionte Johnson.
And I'm still taking the same stance, no.
The answer to me is absolutely. Because if he comes out and he balls how we believe he will, based on the conversation that we seen with Bro, offensive coordinator.
Just because he tell him something don't mean he going to actually go out there and do it. Because what if he doesn't?
If he doesn't, then it's a bet that you got to take.
What if he goes out there and snaps his shit?
It's a bet you have to take. Because we can play what if all fucking night.
Okay.
If y'all want to.
That's what you started off with.
Hey, listen, if y'all want to, we can play what if all night.
You just started off with a what if.
Well, what if that nigga goes for $1,500?
And what if he doesn't?
He still won't get Jeddah's money.
No, and I don't want him to get Jeddah's money. That's not the point. The fact of the matter is we had a conversation about Jeddah's resetting the market. Mm-hmm. So with Jeddah's resetting the market, even if he gets Devontae Smith money, it's going to look, like a significant chunk of change.
Do you think he's worth Devontae Smith money? Do you think he's a Devontae Smith caliber type player?
I think
because I personally don't.
Oh, I'm going to say this, and I'll let Tavian expand because I see him shaking his head behind the camera. I think to take that risk of paying him now is worth the risk of paying him now instead of trying to wait. Because what I understand, what I know about the Carolina Panthers is they have a hard time paying their superstars. And I think the Brian Burns situation should be a prime example on why the Carolina Panthers fan base as a whole should be championing for Dionte Johnson to get his contract right now.
Well, I don't think the nigga's a superstar.
And that's fine. He very well may not be a superstar.
If I have a hard time paying Brian Burns, I'm damn sure gonna have a hard time paying him.
I would consider him a superstar.
Me too.
I would give him the little gold badge on Madden.
And off of that, I don't know about a superstar. I think he's a star.
Yeah,
I think Dionte Johnson is a star.
I think you have X factors.
He wouldn't get it.
He damn sure wouldn't get a red X.
He would get a superstar badge.
He can get a gold star.
He
wouldn't be a silver.
I don't think Dionte Johnson is selling tickets.
He's not.
Not yet. But I think that the
so how the fuck do you consider him a superstar?
I think he misspoke. He misspoke. That's what a superstar does. A superstar puts asses in seats. Mm-hmm. You're either mesmerizing or you're a superstar or you're both. I.e. Bryce Young. He's extremely mesmerizing.
I don't even know if he's selling that many jerseys.
Polarizing. So, Bryce Young is selling tickets. He is. And he's about the only one that we can point to directly.
I didn't misspeak. I think he's a superstar, but just because Kawhi's a superstar, but Kawhi's not putting asses in seats.
When he's healthy.
That's wrong as fuck.
When he's healthy, yes,
That's
he
wrong
is.
as fuck.
Like
That's a terrible comparison.
Bro, what
Kawhi Leonard isn't putting asses in seats?
No.
You're drunk. You're drunk.
He's not.
You're crazy.
He's not.
You're
I mean,
crazy.
I promise you he's not.
That's nasty.
Yeah, I mean
nutty work.
that was terrible.
That's
I'm not
nasty,
even.
The bitch never even played, so you're not about to sit here and convince me that the bitch puts asses in seats.
But he's still a superstar.
If you're taking that stance, then yes, but if Kawhi healthy is a superstar.
He is.
And it's putting ass in
seen him.
seats.
Nigga, ESPN was comparing Kawhi to fucking Jordan when he was with Toronto and he had that playoff run. That is superstar aura. Nothing short of that.
ESPN says a lot of nut shit. That's why nobody watches their shit no more.
Fair. Touche.
Okay.
Touche. I don't even know where we were. Oh, Dionte Johnson.
His contract.
Yes.
Don't pay
you
him.
pay him.
You don't pay him.
No, y'all are. I'm telling y'all. I'm telling
make him prove
fuck
it.
that. You've already made enough people prove it. Enough people
But
have tried to
not
prove
him.
it and walked.
Not him,
So
though.
my whole thing, because this is the situation, and this is exactly what. Excuse me, damn! I done got gassed up here. This is exactly what I was hinting at last week or 2 weeks ago when we had this conversation. If Dionte Johnson goes out and balls out this year, and Bryce Young's game is elevated to another level, why in the fuck would you even think about letting a nigga like that walk? If your franchise quarterback seems to have elevated his level of play to a different level with the guy that you brought in, that you automatically deemed the wide receiver one, and then you let him walk? No. I think
because you have
don't
another
chance
one.
it.
You have another one right behind
I think you give him a 3 or a 4 year deal right now, and I think you just go ahead and wipe your hands of it, so it's a situation that you don't even have to worry about next year.
You don't do it
can
because you
backload
have
his
another
contract.
one right
You
behind
don't know if you have another one.
Well, you
think
don't know.
you have
You
another
don't. You
one
don't know if Dionte Johnson is going to do what you just said.
You're absolutely right. But is the risk worth the reward? To
No.
me, it's
it's
just like
not.
the segment. Is
Especially-
the juice worth the squeeze? If we look at it, and X, even if X is who we believe he is, so either way, you go back to having one weapon.
But you
Because
don't do it. You don't do it,
Adam
especially
Thielen is going to be
considering-
wrapped.
What if
don't
Migo
do
is
it-
what we think he is, or what you think he'll be?
Not even
What
that.
if he's not?
Not even that, though.
And
You
what if
don't do it.
Dionte Johnson is not?
I believe Dionte Johnson is a lot closer to being what we think he can be than Jonathan Mingo is right now.
You don't
right
do
now,
it
Jonathan
solely
Mingo
off
is
the
a
fact
dream.
that these kids are coming in from college and they're making immediate impact, especially at the wide receiver position. We're looking at a market in which today the wide receiver position has become so expensive to like maintain. You only pay top dollar if you have one of them guys. Dionte Johnson.
Philadelphia paid top dollar for Devontae Smith. He's not really one of those guys.
No. They didn't pay top dollar. They gave him an all right. Devontae Smith took a lot less than he could have
So
gotten
wait,
on the
so
open
Paul,
market.
so why can't we go ahead and let Dionte Johnson settle for that right now?
Because they seen
not
what
gonna sign that, though.
they seen what Devontae Smith could do anyway.
Dionte
We
Johnson
ain't seen
isn't
that
going to
shit.
sign a Devontae Smith contract because he's not. Devontae Smith is the number 2, and it's not even close. He's clearly the number 2, and he has been since the day he got drafted. Dionte Johnson is not the number 2 on this team, not yet. He's as the number 1. And what is the number 1 going value right now? 30 plus. 30 plus in the NFL. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Let me tell you this.
He's not coming in under 30 million.
That's
with that,
fine.
With
If he
Justin
has a
Jefferson
season-
setting the market like he did, the whole shit is reset now. So it's becoming one of them things where it's almost more cost efficient to just draft another one because you can get similar
See, I don't
production
like
out
that.
of these guys
I
coming
don't
out
like
because
that.
the wide receiver position in college to the NFL, the transition is not that hard.
Yes, because of the position. I'd agree with that. But we saw that burn us with Jonathan Mingo last year. Jonathan Mingo was not even remotely close to the player that we believe Jonathan Mingo was going to be. I say we as a fan base, I say we as an organization. Jonathan Mingo provided damn near nothing at all to the offense last season. So to say that you're comfortable with taking that risk over a guy that we've already seen him go over 1,000 yards with below average quarterback play, and we all think on this cast, on this set, we all believe Bryce Young is above average, correct? I'm going to say that. You're definitely going to say that, and you're definitely going to say that. You said he will finish top 12 in the MVP race, right? So we believe he's an above average talent. So we've already seen Dionte Johnson go for over 1,000 with a below average quarterback. We've already seen it. So that, to me, tells me that if you have a guy that is even a little bit better than below average, you have the ability to go from anywhere between 980 and 1,300 yards, hands down, with you being the undoubtable number one receiver.
But you can give
So
that
you take
again.
that risk because
But
you
again, you
what
can
the fuck
give
is the
that up.
point?
You can give that up if you have a guy who you believe will be the future number one. You can do that. And then, because you're not asking a guy, because last year the problem with Jonathan Mingo was you drafted him and you were like, be the number one. No NFL experience, you're the number one. The next guy that you draft, hypothetically, X is already the number one. You're the number two. You just got to slide in.
I just don't agree because look at what it cost us to go get X this year. It cost. I mean,
Yeah, but
yes,
you got
we
a
made
second.
up,
You also
yes,
got
we
your
made up
second
for
round
it.
pick.
Yes, we made up for it. Yes, and we had that second round pick to rely on. But
And next
I
year you
don't
have your
feel
first,
comfortable.
you have your second.
Yeah, but I don't feel comfortable with us letting Dionte Johnson potentially walk next offseason and then burning another first or second round pick on a wide receiver. Not with 12, 13, 14 wide receivers listed right now, already ready, and a guy that I believe is going to be an elite wide receiver one. Dionte Johnson has showed spurts where he is a top-end receiver in the NFL.
Okay. Is Dionte Johnson, if Dionte Johnson were to hit the free agency market next season, is he the top free agent wide receiver?
No.
That's too much of a hypothetical. You can't say
It's
that.
not, because his contract is up.
No, I'm saying
His
it's too much
contract
of a
is up
hypo-
after this season. He
you
will be
can't
a
say
free
that
agent.
because if he goes
the
for
other
13
guys that are going to hit the free agency market today, if the guys that are scheduled to hit free agency next season,
But you can't do
hit
that.
the
You
market
can't-
right
that's-
now, where is
that's-
Dionte Johnson at?
That's selling it short, though.
No,
You
it's
can't
not.
do that. You can't.
Do you
Because
see
this
what
is
I'm?
the
Do you
thing.
see what I'm saying with this?
Yeah.
though?
If he goes for 13, if he goes for 13 and double-digit touchdowns, the answer is fucking yes. The answer is yes. He's a young receiver. I already told you the potential he has. Does he have a drop problem at times? Absolutely. If we see that improve and he, again, has double-digit touchdowns, I'll even say 1150. 1150 with 10 tutties, let's put him at 65 to 80 catches. Yes, he becomes the number one receiver on that free agent market. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You
We
don't
can
pay.
look at it.
You don't pay him.
You don't.
It's just as simple as that. You don't pay him.
Let's see. 2025.
I don't even think it's that much of a conversation.
I mean, no. So are we assuming off of this conversation? Are we assuming CD and Brandon get their contract? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, cool. So then the conversation becomes unrealistic because you're not. I mean, do you believe the Carolina Panthers are bringing in CD Lamb? Do you believe the Carolina Panthers are bringing in Brandon Ayuk? Do you believe that the Carolina Panthers are bringing in T. Higgins? The answer to that question, all three of them are absolutely not. So
Why?
if you're telling me,
Why is it
Nah,
that?
I wouldn't
what do you
say.
mean?
I wouldn't
why?
say absolutely
Because
not.
why the fuck are they coming to Carolina?
Why?
they
I mean,
have
if
the pick of the
Carolina's
litter?
paying the most money,
That's not going to be the case. That's not going to be the case. And this is why the simple fact that we've had to have this conversation for this long is the reason why you go ahead and pay him. Because it's too much shit that could hypothetically go wrong. We already discussed X
too
and
much
his
bad
size.
shit too.
We've already discussed X and his size. We already saw him not participate in OTAs, which Dave Canales told us not to overreact to. So we didn't. But there's a potential that he does not pan out. There's a potential that the Carolina Panthers don't decide to pick up Thielen's fourth-year option. There's a potential of that.
there's also a potential that Dionte Johnson doesn't pan out, and you went ahead and dicked it off and fucking paid him all that.
I'd rather pay him now. Because by the time because this is the thing. This is the thing, bro. We already know that the guy that gets paid the most recent is the guy that's going to get the fattest contract. So that's phenomenal that Jetta's got what he got. But the thing about it is, if I'm Dionte and I put up 1150 to 1200, I'm waiting. I'm waiting until CD signs his deal. I'm waiting until Brandon Ayuk signs his deal.
I don't give a fuck how long you wait or who you waiting for. You're not getting that money.
All I'm gonna tell you is Trevor Lawrence got his bag, which we won't even circle back to that conversation. But Trevor Lawrence got his bag, and then the report that came out damn near 2.5 hours later was that Dak Prescott was seeking $60 million in his next deal, upcoming as a free agent this upcoming season.
And
so the guy that listen to me, the guy that gets paid the most recent, especially when we're talking about the upper echelon of players, is gonna get the biggest bag.
Nobody's paying Dionte Johnson comparable money to fucking. Who did you say? CD
Brandon,
Ayuk.
and
Yeah,
okay,
he's
cool.
not getting that from nobody.
It's not, but again, it doesn't have anything to do with him that the contract he receives being comparable to that. It's all about the market. So if right now the market is the fucking highest paid wide receiver is $40 million a year in Jettas or whatever his shit is right now. So that means if we're marking Dionte Johnson as a mid-tier receiver, that means we can probably get off with giving Dionte Johnson a $18 to $27 million contract. Maybe even 26. Let that shit reset next year and you get CD, who's going to get more money than Jettas because that's how this shit go. Brandon Ayuk, who I believe will get, I don't know, because we had an argument about his value right now on the trade block. Even if he doesn't, CD will reset it again. Because CD is going to get more money than Jettas. I hate to tell niggas, and I understand that niggas feel a certain way about CD and his effort and all of that shit. CD is going to get more money than Jettas, whether it be this offseason or next offseason. So irregardless, the market is going to be reset. So now you're looking at a guy that you could have gotten for 18 to 26. Now that bitch is reset to the highest paid receiver is getting $45-46 million a year. Now that shit, now we're looking at that shit.
How the fuck did we jump $10 million?
How much is Jettas getting?
35.
Okay, 35. My apologies. So now my bad. I misspoke. I thought it was $40 million. So cool. You're looking at 35 right now. You're looking at a mid-tier guy from 18 and 26. You reset that bitch and CD gets 40. Now the mid-tier guy, I'm just telling you. Now the mid-tier guy is looking at more. You can't really get me at 18 no more. You got to get me anywhere between 22 and 28. And then you're looking down on your dick with your cock in your hand because you didn't go ahead and lock that nigga up. And really, to be quite frank, before the deal to move Dionte Jackson to Pittsburgh and to send Dionte here, a deal should have already been proposed to Dionte, in my opinion. Did you? Now, we both sat here and watched the Blueprint and saw the way they were sucking his dick. If you sucking a nigga off like that, you should have no hesitation with paying him any amount of money that is reasonable.
No. So is it not telling that they have hesitation paying him?
No, not to. I think it's the Carolina Panthers doing shitty, shiesty business like we've seen them do on multiple occasions.
No, I just seen the year you came off of, and I just need you to prove it. Okay. I just need to build your confidence.
It's a reason we were able to get you.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're what you say he is, then they would have never got rid of him.
The reason is because don't say it like it was a production thing. Because he just said that shit like it was a production thing. It was not a production thing. It was a.
I didn't say it as if it was a production thing. I said it as if it's a thing where you were available for a fucking reason, and we were able to come get you for a reason, and you don't have a new contract for a reason.
And those reasons we haven't heard come up in Carolina at all yet.
Because
him being a diva,
because he hasn't played a
him showing
there was
effort.
never nothing about him being a diva.
No, it was the fact that that's what it was. He was complaining about not getting touches.
It wasn't about being a diva. It was about the bitch ass nigga couldn't catch, and then the bitch ass nigga didn't want to fucking block. And that's on film, is documented, is clear and obvious. Turn that shit on. What they say? Put the burger down. Pick the burger up. Turn the film on and watch that shit. That nigga was not blocking.
That is what they say.
He was not. He was dropping passes. They be on your dick, right?
They be on my dick. They be on my muppy for sure.
But how do we give this nigga this long of a segment, bro?
Because
JJ be wanting to ride.
He's not worth it, bro.
On his.
No, it's not that. It's not that at all. It's just a realistic conversation. Because I'm telling y'all what's going to happen. And I love the fact that we put the shit on wax so our viewers can recall shit. Because I know how I am as a podcast consumer. So this episode, they'll remember subconsciously for a while. So when this conversation comes up again next offseason, and Xavier Legette, hypothetically, God forbid, doesn't turn out to be what we think he's going to be, then the Carolina Panthers are going to be down on their dick once again. Then Bryce Young is going to show a significant amount of regression once again, and everybody's going to be looking fucking dumb and blue in the fucking face.
So that's your problem. You just have a very pessimistic look on this. No, you don't believe in any of the shit that's gone on. Because if everything else falls into place how it should, Dionte Johnson will have a decent season. Xavier Legette will have a decent season. Bryce will have a decent season, and the team will look good, and Dionte Johnson will get a new fucking contract at the proper rate. He will not get top of the market money.
But this is the problem. We always talk about hostages, right? This is why, we had the conversation that we had last year when I was talking about Devontae Adams. Why we should have fucking jumped out the window to go get that nigga last offseason when we had the opportunity, when he still had a couple years left on his contract.
When we had the
always
real
talk about
opportunity to go
hostages.
get him, you should have got him for Kelvin Benjamin. But continue.
I mean,
That
it's
was-
easy to say that in hindsight now.
Well, shit, that's the real opportunity. You want to
Thing
talk about
about it
opportunity.
is,
That was a
we talk
trade
about hostage.
at one
That
point
was.
in
I think they came out the same year, if I'm not mistaken. I think him and Kelvin Benjamin came out the same
Yeah,
year.
nasty
But the
work.
thing about it is, I mean,
But Kelvin
it's nasty
was a
work, but
dog
Kelvin
coming
Benjamin
out,
at
though. I
Florida
will
State
say
was
Kelvin,
a demon.
And shit, Kelvin in his first couple of seasons in the league was
put up a bang.
It was all right.
Multiple times, if I'm not
Kelvin
mistaken.
was different. I mean, shit. Cam even, Cam wanted to punch that nigga in his shit at one point in time, and even he came out and said, "Yeah, Benji was a dog
For sure. For
So-
sure. But we always talk about hostage situations, and you don't. And the fact of the matter is, if Dionte Johnson hits the free agent market and he balls out the way he thinks he does, even if we're the highest bidder, just like we saw with Jeremy Chin, just like we saw with Frankie Louisville, even if we are the highest bidder, there's a possibility that he says, "Fuck Carolina, I don't believe we can win here, and I'm gonna take my talents elsewhere."
I got you. Let's bring this segment back. All right, I'm gonna give you a number, and you tell me when it's no longer acceptable for Dionte Johnson. Okay, you remember we did this with Brian Burns?
Yeah.
Okay,
What does
so
Devontae Smith make?
I believe
what does
Devontae
Devontae
Smith
Smith
makes
make?
about 20.
We can speak in
yeah,
fact,
Let's see.
and then
I
we're
wanna say
moving
it's about
on.
25.
Do you have your juice ready?
No, bro. I don't even understand how this nigga got this long of a segment.
Dead air. Sorry. I think we're all looking up the same exact thing. 3 years, $75 million. So what is
51 guaranteed.
that? $25 million a year. Cool.
So I was right.
Yes.
What I said.
Okay. Yeah, you did.
So-
I mean, nigga, I wasn't knocking
All
you.
right, so cool. So was that the floor? Are we starting there? Let's start at 22.
Okay. And we're talking about Dionte Johnson. Are we talking about Dionte Johnson right now?
We're talking about
Or are
the
we talking
contract
about-
that you want to give him
Right now.
early. Yes, the contract that you're willing to give him right now.
Okay.
Okay? 22.
Yes.
Terrence?
Right now,
Yes.
how much is Devontae making?
25.
25? 19 or 20.
So you're already out.
Yeah,
You're out at 22.
Yeah,
That's
I'm out.
Delusional.
I'm
Okay,
out.
23,
Absolutely.
24,
Yes.
25.
Hold your horses.
Wow. Now it's that.
Yeah, it is that because I said the nigga could get anywhere between 18 and 26.
So what would you give him? 25?
I would probably give
For
him.
how many years?
I would
25?
probably offer him 23 and a half just to start contract negotiation talks off. I would probably give him 23 and a half for a 3-year extension. Maybe I might even go up to 24 and a half for 4 years.
I want 110 million for 4 years. With 75 guaranteed.
Probably not. But that's way out of. I mean, nigga, I said 20. I said we would have
Jettas
to-
is at 140 million with
Yeah.
like 100 million guaranteed.
Yeah, but nigga, Devontae.
I just asked
is
for
at-
110 with 75.
Yeah, you can't get that, unfortunately. You can get Devontae Smith money. You can get 24. You can even get 24 and a half. And you can be locked up for 4 years. And hell, if you don't want to be locked up, you want that player option, you can get it.
I think that will be. I think what the
Because
contract.
next year, I know if you ball out, nigga, you going to be coming here talking about 26, 27, 28. That's what y'all niggas ain't realizing. That's what y'all ain't realizing. So, yes, you get them for cheap now, and you save yourself an additional 5, 7, 9, 10, 11 million dollars so you don't have to pay it out next year after he does what we believe he will do.
So
what I believe he will do.
I was about to
the
say
contract
yeah,
that I
what you
just
believe.
gave you is what I think he'll ultimately get one day. And I think that's what he'll be asking for. And I don't think that you pay that now. I think you wait, because if you're going to be dishing out $110 million, 70 to 75 of which will be guaranteed to a dude like Dionte Johnson, I think you wait until he fucking proves it. And if you prove it and you show that you are the guy you are, no problem coming off that money, paying you what you're worth. But if I go around, if
But
I
at that
fuck,
point, I
but
don't
if
even
I
give a
fuck
fuck.
around, if I
Because
fuck
now
around,
you waited and you dicked off with my bread, and so now you let me hit the open market.
it's
Extend
not that
them now.
you have an understanding He clearly has an understanding for what he's worth, right or wrong, because he said that the contract that Justin Jefferson got made him, opened his eyes a little bit, made him more enticed to, produce on the field.
Yes.
All right.
Go
So
earn your money.
You know it's a contract year. We know it's a contract year. We'll pay you what you're fucking worth when you fucking earn it. And it's that simple. Because Bryce is still on a rookie deal. And we can still dick around with the cap for 5 years.
Okay. What do you want me to say? That's all I'm gonna say.
That's
Okay.
it. That's the end of the conversation. That's what we've been saying the whole time. I don't know why it took
y'all were wrong.
I don't know why it took 3 hours, but
It took 3 hours because I believe y'all were wrong. That's why. I believe y'all were wrong.
Tell them to go earn this fucking money. How about that?
Okay. Fair enough. Y'all ready for juice? Yep. Let's move on. Sorry about that to our viewers. That just pisses me off because I know what's going to happen.
They probably found it entertaining.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they'll be on your top after that segment.
Probably. I mean, what the fuck is new? What do I care?
Tavian's burner, go get him.
His cock was hard that we gave him a shout out last week. Or their cock was hard.
They said something.
Yeah, they said something. Ooh, they said, "Ooh, I got a shout out on the pod with a little." Never mind, it's Prime Month, so I'm gonna chill. Go. One of y'all go. Tavian, go. Cause you seem like you were ready.
Whoa.
Okay, so you weren't ready. I'll go with Dylan first, and then I will give y'all mine. Dylan has a 5-leg parlay this week. Plus 540. He took Germany. This is all Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. Germany money line, the same game parlay. Germany and Hungary. Over 2.5 goals. Took England money line. That's happening on Thursday. Portugal money line happening on Saturday. Belgium money line happening on Saturday as well. Again, that's at plus 540. Do you have yours done?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I have the Yankees versus the Orioles Wednesday at 7:06. So y'all have time to go put this in. Yankees money line over 0.5 runs in the first inning. I have the Red Sox money line. I have the Dodgers money line, and I have the Minnesota Lynx money line against the Atlanta Dream. All of these are happening Wednesday afternoon, plus 964.
I have a plus 1781. It's only a 3-leg parlay. Give me the Yankees minus 1.5 Wednesday night, 7:05 against the Baltimore Orioles. The return of Garrett Cole. I think he's locked in. I think he's healthy. I think he's ready to go. Give me the Yankees minus 1.5. 2+ hits recorded in the first inning. You have Juan Soto, you got Volpe, you got Gunnar Henderson. You got a lot of star power at both of the top of these lineups. To me, there's no way that we don't have 2+ hits recorded in the first inning. I'll take that. And I will take a tie of 0-0 at the end of the first inning. Tie 0-0 plus 1781. To me, that's very doable. That doesn't seem like that's too much to ask. The biggest challenge to me is the Yankees minus 1.5. Two very, very good teams sitting at the top of the AL East right now. My lock off of that ticket is going to be the 2+ hits recorded in the first inning. If you want to take legs off and build your own ticket, that would be the one that I highly suggest. 2+ hits recorded in the first inning.
My lock, I feel like I got a lot of locks on this ticket. But I'm going to say the Minnesota Lynx money line because the Atlanta Dream is pretty mud. And then I'll go Dodgers money line. I gave y'all 2 locks.
Are you done?
Yeah. I'm done. Let me see here. I got my ticket at plus 983. We're going to take the Indiana Fever money line on Wednesday against the Mystic. You know, my girl CC, she always going to show out. You know, if you ain't betting on her,
She
you
always
losing
gonna
money.
get busted on her head.
I mean, the bitches be hating.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason we watching is because of her, but, you know, I digress.
Facts.
Let's see. The Philadelphia Phillies against the Padres on Wednesday. I got the Phillies money line. I'm taking the Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Washington Nationals money line. I'm taking the Kentucky Wildcats over the Florida Gators. I'm taking that money line as well on Wednesday, and I'm also taking the Wednesday money line of the Yankees over the Orioles. That gives us a plus 983. I mean, not really. Not really. I mean, I just think Garrett Cole coming back. Yeah, Garrett Cole's a dog. I'd be dumb to bet against him, right?
Yes.
So I bet with him. And I think Terrence, I ain't gonna lie, I think you fucked up with that Boston pick.
Well, they're coming off a sweep, so
Who?
or how many games did they beat the Yankees?
2-1.
2-1.
But I think you fucked up because Brian Bayo's pitching, and I think Brian Bayo's dealing with an injury right now. He's been kind of fucking up lately.
Oh well, they're plus money, so
I'm just letting you know. But you don't put in your tickets anyway.
He don't play his shit. He
don't
lame.
matter.
I mean, fine. Have y'all won any tickets y'all put in?
No.
Okay, well, shut the fuck up.
I've won a lot.
You
Yeah,
play
I'm
them
playing, but I won
just
a lot.
to lose. Like,
And Jason Tatum, bitch at. Never mind. Let me chill. That's champ. My fault. My bad.
Yeah, you heard him address him as
champ.
what?
Champ. That's what he said. I'm gonna address
he's
him
so
as champ.
goofy, bro. Like,
I'ma
he gotta
address
be
him.
one of the goofiest, like, weirdest superstars I ever seen, if that's what they want to call him.
So
like,
strange.
he's
If
so
that's what they want to call him, he's a top 8 basketball player.
like, he's just
in the
so
world.
goofy, bro. Like a clout
It just
seeking.
seems so uncomfortable, like
Yeah.
so disingenuous. His celebration yesterday just was so.
It
was
was
nasty.
it was
It was
cringe, bro. It
was.
just so weird. I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, literally.
It was.
I think the best thing he said was "Call me champ."
Yeah,
That was his
and
best
that was
line,
it.
and he should have left it at that.
He probably
God.
stole that from
I
somebody.
was about to say, he got that from somebody too. I done heard that.
I
a
think he
trillion
said he got it
times.
from Curry or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, and then when he gets up on the stage talking about something, I guess we'll never know.
So
that was-
lame,
that was-
bro.
that
They
was
should have
like-
been booing that nigga throwing fucking
And you knew
cups
you
and
like,
soda.
the what makes it worse is the nigga looked to his right and started cheesing hard as hell before he dropped that shit like he was about to say something crazy.
Nah, he
So
did.
Guess
lame.
we'll never find out. I guess we'll never know. Like,
lame, bro.
He fanned
fuck
out.
out of here, bro.
We'll wrap here.
That's what happens when you go to. You go to fucking
You
got one
a hater.
nigga that believes the earth is flat and the other one is just a fucking cornball. And either way, one of them was fucking winning.
Literally
You a hater.
corn on the cob.
Lame.
Corny.
Y'all haters, boy. That shit crazy. And he about to get that extendo too.
The only thing I give him credit for
325.
is pumping old girl with the
Yeah, LMA.
putting
That's
one of them
crazy,
shits at her.
bro.
Now that you got it, champ.
Wow, what a wow. Never mind. 10 returning players who need to excel in 2024. Article from Joe Person, and we'll wrap here. We don't have any Q&A this week. Like I said, happy Juneteenth. Wow. How fucked up of us how fucked up of us not to acknowledge that at the top of the podcast. Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Now,
That is a fact. No, that is a fact. But you know why? It's because they tried to
be careful. Y'all got niggas that work with y'all that watch now. Be careful. That's all I'm going to tell you. 10 returning players who need to excel in 2024. This is how we'll close. We'll make it quick. We'll make it quick. Just give me your guy and why. We can spend 5 minutes in total here. There's a list of 10 names. The returning that need to excel the most: Austin Corbett, Shaq Thompson, DJ Johnson, Shy Tuttle, Eddie Pinheiro, Jonathan Mingo, Miles Sanders, J.C. Horn, Ikem Ekwonu, and Bryce Young. Let's exempt Bryce Young and let's exempt Ikem Ekwonu. Out of those other 8, who has to excel the most for this team to be successful?
run through
in
that
your
one more time.
opinions? Austin Corbett, Shaq Thompson, DJ Johnson, Shy Tuttle, Eddie Pinheiro, Jonathan Mingo, Miles Sanders, and J.C. Horn.
I'm going to go with Austin Corbett. I mean, he's playing center. He's going to be on that offensive line protecting the quarterback. And in order for the team to succeed as a whole, to progress as a whole, I mean, it's going to start up front. It's going to start with Austin Corbett. Everybody else is You said excluding Ick, so I'm not gonna get on him too
Exclude
much.
Ick, exclude Bryce.
Yeah.
We know for a fact what they have to do.
Well, for the team to succeed as a whole and to progress and be better than last year, I think it's gonna start up front at the offensive line. Austin Corbett, Bradley Bozeman was at center last year. So I think this is gonna be a new field for him and Bryce. So yeah, I think for them to get better as a whole, it has to start with him. Those other guys on the list, I mean, JC, like, I really don't even know why he's on the list. It's not really about improving with him. It's about being healthy.
That's my guy. That's my pick.
Well, I don't really understand why, but
Because he does. Because he has to stay healthy. The improvement from him is staying healthy. Simple as that. If he doesn't stay healthy,
Who?
JC.
That was my pick as well.
Yeah, he to me, that is the guy. And to me, JC probably should have been number one, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say JC when you
Me
said
too.
that list.
No.
Because y'all know me. Traditionally, I would say trench player. I say it every week. But I think it's definitely JC because JC is the only guy in the cornerback room. And if the rest of the cornerbacks are dog shit, if you have JC out there and you can shut down half of the field, that makes that room 10,000 times better off rip.
the reason I didn't say JC is because when I hear improvement, my mind automatically thinks like skill-based, like skill improvement, a level of play. Like,
I think availability and health would be improvement, though.
yeah, I mean, like I said, it all depends on how you look at it. When I hear improvement, my first thing goes to skill-wise. Everybody can improve skill-wise, but as far as, like, on that list, who needs to improve for the team to be successful, I got to go Austin Corbett. But if you're saying, like, I mean, obviously someone who we need the most, then I would go JC just for him being on the field. But as far as improvement-wise, skill-wise, I mean, that's why I didn't say JC.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Yeah, fair enough. That's all we got for them. Y'all have anything? Get off y'all chest. Do y'all have anything? Do you have another topic? I asked niggas for one topic. They didn't give it to me.
I mean, you don't think
I
there's
think
Two
this
brains,
episode's
two
been,
very, very
I
smart
was about to
brains.
say, you don't.
Don't check your watch.
How long we been? How long?
About an hour and a half.
90 minutes, right?
Yeah,
on
I
that.
mean, so I feel like we did pretty good without a.
I think so too.
Okay, then.
We didn't have shit. I just want to let y'all know. Usually we have our production meeting. We got a whole doc built out, etc. Timestamps, everything.
Congratulations, Dionte Johnson. You took up half of our time for whatever reason.
And to everybody listening, you're welcome.
So I hope you're watching and all of a sudden just get excited because JJ is freaking sucking you off. But
One sees it as sucking him off. One sees it as him getting his worth. Right the fuck now. Until he hits
what
the
is his
open
worth?
market.
What is his worth though?
Like I already said, $24.5 million is the ceiling.
You
I already stated that.
You calling off your engagement if your girl goes to a Chris Brown meet and greet?
That was extremely insecure to me personally.
Yeah,
But then again, she was doing the most.
Her comments afterwards didn't help it either.
Right, exactly. But that's what she said. He was insecure. I can live with that. Me and Ryan had this conversation too. But don't touch my girl's ass, nigga. Don't do too fucking much. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean, why is my girl feel comfortable enough to jump in the nigga's
and it
arms
goes,
in the first
actually,
place?
you know what? I probably am. Actually, you know what? Because she did too much. Like, I can understand, you know what I'm saying? You want to be hugged up, cool. I can live with it.
She did too much, but being that CB is like CB, I'm not worried that he's stooping down to get hurt for some reason.
Stooping down.
You know,
Man, being that CB is CB, I feel like it would just be another, a knock on the list for him. It wouldn't make no difference. Like, I
but-
feel like I wouldn't put it. I would just say I wouldn't put it past him to do it, especially if I think my girl is bad. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to
but
do it. Like,
it goes back to another conversation where the girl asked her boyfriend, like, something about giving him money to kiss the prettiest girl in the world. He didn't say her. So I guess it's like, do you think your girl will be the baddest girl there? So my train of thought is like, out of all of the bad girls he's seen, he's just like, oh, I want yours. Like, so
Does
that's
she get a
why.
hall pass for CB? Y'all say get a hall pass for CB? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not worried about him coming back to sliding on my girl and she, like,
But
he's flying her out to LA to go.
but that opens up a completely deeper, darker, because these hoes be getting their heads gassed up.
Yeah,
And if you let CB smash,
Yeah, but I don't think
Put
it's
that
gonna.
pussy on a pedestal.
I
Ain't
don't
that
think
what
it's.
Drizzy
I don't
said?
think it's gonna come to that though.
Okay, fair enough. You giving your girl a hall pass for CB?
I plead the fifth.
I probably would. I'm cool.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I don't know why you. Yeah,
I mean, no, I would. Maybe that speaks to us. Maybe we're secure in our masculinity.
I am secure in my masculinity. That's why I'm not letting my sleep with another nigga. I promise you that much.
Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all so much for tuning in and kicking it with us for an hour and a half. We will be back next week. Schedule might change a little bit going forward, but we will have new content coming throughout this break. They do have a 6-week break right now, pre-training camp. We also didn't touch on the approval that they got for the rezoning to go ahead and continue with the practice field project. Hope that we have some news for y'all next week about training camp. And yeah, appreciate y'all being here.
Happy Juneteenth.